Hello and welcome back to Woman Heal Podcast. I am your host, Coach Carla, and here we believe that healing is not a destination, y'all. It's a journey, right? We bring voices that help us navigate life transitions, reclaim our truth, and step fully into the wholeness we were designed for, right? So today I am honored to sit down with a powerhouse in the coaching world, Coach Dee. She's a self-love strategist, author of The Comeback Kid, How Self-Love Helped Me Build a Prosperous Life, and a woman whose story has touched thousands, right? And so what inspired me was hearing her talk about making a commitment to her inner child. I think she said something like, I made a commitment to allow her to be who she was, right? Right. And so for me, it was that level of authenticity paired with her resilience makes her not just a leader in the LGBTQ plus community, but a leader in healing, period. Right. So from a childhood marked by loss to hiding her truth to a spiritual awakening in 2017 that changed everything. We gonna get into how Coach Dee turned her pain into power, which ultimately transformed into purpose. And I promise you, she has a story that you won't forget. Y'all help me welcome Coach Dee to the Woman Heal podcast.
What's
What's
up?
up?
What's up? That was amazing. What an
Awesome. Take a moment and greet the people in your own way. I'm gonna give you a second.
I mean, I'm listen, what's up? What's up, fam? I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be connected with Carla doing this, It's just we need these spaces. We need these spaces and representation and visibility truly matters. So I'm just here, like she said, all those wonderful things, making that impact, blazing those trails, living in my truth, sharing my story, which was something I was afraid to do at one point. And now I'm here, from hiding to healing. And it's like healing is going to shine and radiate. So I'm just grateful to go into this dialogue, go into this healing conversation and really showcase what authenticity and unapologetic living looks like.
Absolutely. So before we get into the heavy stuff, right? We like to start out a little light, a little fun with some rapper.
Let's do it. Let's
You
do it.
know,
I love some fun.
okay, good, good, good. So we start with some rapid fire questions and we just go through them and just to get to know some little things about you. So for you, will it be sunrise or sunset?
Okay. This is where we go.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
where we
That's
going, Coach D.
that's that's challenging depending on the mood. Man, I love a good sunset. Ooh, I love a beautiful sunset. It
All
just
right.
says, I don't know, it does something. Okay, okay.
Okay, so sunset. What your go-to affirmation right now at this point in your life?
All is well. All is
Oh,
well. Yeah, all is well. Yeah, it embodies like no matter what I'm going through, no matter what good or bad, like all of it, everything is working for the greater good. All is well.
I love it. Watch this. Basketball or yoga?
Ooh.
I did my research. I did my research.
I see. Wow. It just, man, I'm gonna say at this point in my life, I love balling, but it's gonna be yoga. Yoga is taking me into deeper spaces.
I love it. Movie or sitcom?
Ooh, I'm a movie lover. I love romantic movies. I'm a movie lover.
Okay, rom-com. Blue.
Carl,
Okay, rom-com. Okay, this will probably sound a little tricky, but it's not. Blue or black?
black.
All right. I like that. I like that on all levels. You know that, right? Red or
Mm-hmm.
orange?
Ooh, ooh. Wow. Wow. I'm in my chakras right now. I'm gonna say, hmm. Oh my God, that is interesting. I'm gonna say red.
All right. And one word that describes 2025 for you so far.
Ooh, rocket.
Rocket. Ooh. And last one, your favorite way to practice self-love on a rough day.
Ooh, just letting myself be.
Being, simply being. I love that. So
Mm-hmm.
let's navigate now into segment one of your story where we'll be talking about from pain to power, or like you say, from what you say, from hiding to healing. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that synergy. So your story begins, right, with deep childhood wounds, losing your father at 2, watching your mom raise you as a teen parent, and then you said you carry abandonment and resentment. Let's go back to that. I want to just let you go, like, and I'll jump in as needed, but take us on the
Yeah.
journey to the becoming of Coach Dee Coleman.
Ooh, ooh, yes, I like you. I like the energy here. What I'm saying. Before I even go in, Carla and I was, we were talking about how we're disruptors and how, sometimes when you're trying to put things together, God, universe, whatever you believe in, when it's trying to align, you got them forces or devils that don't want to make things happen. So the challenges come. But
Mm-hmm.
still was like, bam, bam, what you got next? What you got next? Which leads us here to this powerful conversation. So I'm super grateful for the energy that we're bringing. My story is it's deep. It goes back to like me being a child of I would say young teen parents lost in the generational trauma themselves, but losing a father to senseless violence so early, and my mother being a teen as well, having to navigate that. And then just having to carry all those wounds of, yeah, that abandonment hole that we talked about, you said a little earlier, that
Mm-hmm.
knowing all the stories of your dad loved you, he was very protective, you were always with him, seeing pictures, and then feeling like, yeah, something was missing after that, being a
Mm-hmm.
child needing that. And then my mother doing the best she could, but not being emotionally available or connected to me. And I come from a very religious background, a line of ministers. I'm actually a PK's kid. So that played into all of my becoming as well. All the things I had to be resilient in a lot of ways. I felt like I also had to grow up early because I had siblings, cousins. I'm the oldest of all of them. And so y'all know how it is growing up Black. The oldest one, you always gotta, be the one to take care of everybody, but nobody takes care of us. So we didn't learn how to get our needs met as well. So I went through a lot of that in my life, especially being attached to wanting my mother's love. She just wasn't an emotional woman. She was, and she's still like that in a lot of ways. She's opened up a little bit, but just being in that religious background and position she was in, and the role that I think they were molding her to be in. I even think now I don't even know if that's really what she wanted, but I just feel like she got, and it could be. We all got our callings, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it was challenging for me growing up trying to navigate how to have that connection. And so when I say my trauma is like missing my father, not having that connection with him, those abandonment wounds, not being emotionally connected to my mother like that, and just seeing, I saw domestic violence in the home. I witnessed all these things, and I'm trying to navigate that as a child while you're still asking me to take care of other kids, right? So
Mm-hmm.
trauma was just built. And as I got older and got in the world more, I was just aligning or attaching to anything and anybody that I felt was showing me some kind of one protection that I was missing from my father, and lack of, that abandonment, or some type of love or care, because I didn't get that. Right. And so all of those things this was all, I'm just feeding y'all a little bit. Carla, don't
Mm-hmm.
make just go. So y'all follow me here. Like this is something I'm sure somebody's going to relate. Like you just go through life yearning and seeking and wanting. And then me later discovering, my sexuality, trying to figure out the identity with that, and being in a religious family that talks so bad and down about, homosexuality, the queer community. And I was afraid, scared to death to be myself. So this is where basketball comes into play. I found a way to, escape. I
Mm-hmm.
ended up loving it because I've always been an athlete, but I just threw myself into sports and basketball, and I felt like I got celebrated there, supported, even if it was for my talent. It was something that I didn't get as a kid. Of course, still running, right? Didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that yet, but as we progress on through life, I was always just missing something. It just felt like I was missing the void. My inner child was just so hurt. Like it's interesting. She's always been a light from birth, but
Mm-hmm.
she's carried me. And now I always say, now that I'm here, I got you. because your light, you was showing me the way in those tiny specks, even though I was in a dark world, that got us here. So now that I know my light and fullness, that's a whole different thing. I'm like, I got you. But yeah, these things have led up to my becoming, and just ah man, it's been an incredible yet challenging journey. I've gone through so much. You know, you lose people, you lose things, you feel like you're losing things, but you don't realize you're gaining yourself. So like over just time, I think once I started to get to, I'm gonna just fast forward a little bit. 2017, 2014, I lost my cousin. He 23 years old, just died on us of asthma, right? That
Mhm.
was the start of something I didn't understand. It was like, I was like, what is this? Grief is a right?
Mhm.
Um, I had never felt that kind of loss of somebody so close that I pretty much raised, and just we were close, you know? And so when he died, it awakened something in me to say, hey, it's time for you to start figuring something out, living your truth, because he was the catalyst in my life. The younger, I'm the oldest, he was the younger one, but he always told me, hey, cuz I love you for you. You know, if you like women, live in your truth fully. And I didn't know what that meant at the time. I'm like, man, I can't, I gotta be like this over here. He was like, I wish one day you can see like that you still fucking cool and that you should live how you are, And he would say, fuck them, because he was so young.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
uh I was still kind of like, I get it. But when he died, it's like I was hurting, but it was like something I kept hearing that. Live your truth. And I was like, man, I just start busting. I just started busting. Just something just started to happen. Those breakthroughs started to come. That was a part of my healing journey with him. He died on Halloween. So each Halloween from then, I for 10 years, I celebrated Halloween, and it was to celebrate him and celebrate my liberation. I dressed up in costumes, my friends and I at the time, and it was just liberating. And I didn't realize that was a part of my healing, but he really was the catalyst for me shifting, and then 2017 came later. I just really, it just took it to another level. I was tired of being in jobs that didn't serve me, around people that were not serving me. And I went on a deep healing journey, got in therapy real heavy. I was just like, I need to figure out who I am. And this is what led into the more of my becoming, going back, saying, okay, it's time for me to go home within myself. It's time for me to really understand my inner child and love on her. And as I started going through that journey, it took me into, I know if I'm going through this, other people are too.
Mhm.
How can I help other people? And they always say when the teacher is ready, the students will start to appear. Well, that's what started to happen too. People start coming into my life that are like, hey, I start posting things on social media more. I started to become more visible. And I was just like, where is all this coming from? I'm like, it was kind of to me, I ain't gonna lie, because I never been, I was taught to sweep things under the rug and not share your vulnerabilities like that, because people are going to judge you. So even when writing my books, when I started doing those things, it was like, whoa, like who are you? But people start coming to me more and more, and I'm like, okay, there's something to this, because I mean, I'm sharing these things where people are telling me that they're either they're feeling this, or they're in this right now, or something, and I'm overcoming it, or they're seeing me go through it.
Mhm.
Okay, we gotta, God, what do you want me to do? And that's when I started going deeper. And it just came in. This is your purpose. It's time to really get out there and live your truth, how you are, showcase love from the inside, no matter if you're queer or black or a woman,
Mhm.
be you authentically. And I said, okay. And I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna say it wasn't scary, because I mean, at that time, I started, family members were texted me and, "Hey, what's going on with you?" Aunts calling me, like when they start to see things that they didn't identify or recognize, it became
Mhm.
a whole thing, and I had to fight through that. I had to deal with all that, and that was like, I gotta cut ties. For like a year, I told my family, I don't know, this was a part of it. I said, I can't. I hope and pray that nothing happens to any of us in between this, but I have to take a step back from y'all. I can't do this. I can't heal in the same environment that I done got sick in.
Mhm.
So doing that was it was very hard in the beginning because we were so dysfunctionally connected, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
You know,
I
but I
can relate on so
oh,
many, and I want you to go into
oh,
that
oh,
because that's the part.
oh.
Because we hear so much about. I remember when I was in the closet and I had a girl that was out and she inboxed me and was like, "You need to just live your truth and you need to just." And it's easy to tell people that, right?
Mhm.
Just be you, and it's like you don't realize how much unlearning, detoxing, deconstructing all of that while trying to still cling to God because you like your representatives have done a horrible job. I rock with you, but I got to get to know you all over again.
Man,
Right. And that family dynamic, right? Because I'm in that space now where I got
have to be so.
tired. Like I'm talking about today, where I'm like,
Ooh,
I am tired of us being dysfunctionally connected. On
mm-mm.
paper, we look like the it family. In reality, it is not. Y'all are not safe on
Y'all are
no level. Talk
so
about that because
horrible.
I think that's the part of the healing journey. And because I feel like when people are afraid, it's not just for their livelihoods or how people are gonna perceive them. Everything around you is gonna be tested. When you come out and you live your authentic truth, everything that's not real around you is gonna be shaken and disrupted and dismantled. And that can rock your world because when you look at the people that you thought were a part of your foundation or were rooted in y'all were like that, you be like, yo, you like, wait, what? So how was that for you? Because I'm gonna give it back to you. I'm tossing it back.
No, I'm listening to you. I love it. I'm with you. I get it. That is so toxic and trauma filled. It is bad, and I talk about that in my second book. I know you got the digital copy of the other one, but I'm gonna have to send you Heal That Shit because this one
Mm,
right here, this is my second book, and I went deeper into my spiritual awakening, talking about how me growing up in a religious family. And when I wrote this book, I knew, oh, I'm finna go there. I feel like I was coming out more to share my truth. And I was like, I don't really give a fuck what they say. These are my experiences. I'm
mhm.
going to honor my experiences in a way where I'm talking about the transformation of my healing, but I'm going to be real about it. And so I felt for a long time, that's what took me a long time to detach because I was so attached to the familiarity of the dysfunction and the, oh well, we love you and don't put anybody else before your family, all these beliefs that they instill in you, but like you said, they're not safe. It's unhealthy. And when I noticed, I started to speak up. It was like there's so much resistance to change. Like I'm like, this is a lot. Like
And they
it,
make you think you crazy, like it's
yeah,
you.
like it's
Okay.
true. And I start seeing, oh my God, like it's like my inner child was showing me, like, and I'm looking at, this is what got me. I start to see their inner children too. And I was like,
Mm.
oh my God, this just been a whole bunch of pain, trying to raise pain. And nobody's taking out the time to genuinely or authentically or organically heal this trauma pattern in our bloodline.
Well,
And they
that's
want
because they didn't see it as trauma.
they
That's
didn't see it as trauma. Everybody just think it's okay, but it's dysfunction, it's chaos, it's struggle. I'm like, we can't even have effective, loving communications, but yet you say, oh, I love you. That stuff wasn't making sense to me. And so
and
that's when
love
I knew,
God too. I love Jesus. You
and
like,
God is love, and God love you, and God, fear. It was all that, or you be there for your family over everything. And I started breaking free of those beliefs. The more when I took that time to myself, that's when I really realized. And the withdrawals in the beginning were real. I'm not even gonna lie, because you're so attached to that shit. That's what you know. That's all you know. But when you start
and
breaking,
Coach D, real quick, I wanna that withdrawals, like I tend to tell people, I'm like, I know that's why I don't judge people, whether I don't care
yeah,
what type of addiction, right? I don't even like
yeah,
using the word crackhead, any
yeah.
type of addiction, any addict. I'm like, when you are cleansing yourself,
Ooh,
you go through withdrawals. Can you talk about that? Like, and this
ooh,
is to provide insight or even the people that are there right now where they're in this journey of figuring it out and everything looks unfamiliar. And your mind to kind of play games with you a little bit. You
ooh,
start feeling like you crazy or something wrong with you. Like, keep going. I just wanted to
Yeah,
add that. Like,
vibing. No, you're right. That is real. You do go through that because you're so used to being attached energetically, psychologically, like that's all you know. But when you're breaking and disrupting that, it's talent because you feel like everything is falling apart. You feel like you're alone. Okay, did I make the right? Your mind do start. Did I make the right choice? But this is what we're doing. We're cracking belief systems, and that's not an easy thing to do. But standing in it, what helped me through a lot of that, I allowed myself to cry. I got in therapy. Like I said, I started building my own support system around me, or aligning with communities that felt safe for my nervous system. Just things that
mm-hmm,
helped me. Yoga. That's why I tell you, yoga. I started getting more into mindfulness practice, but leaning more towards spirituality versus religion. I started tapping into that, which was the shift that I needed. But I went through. Like, and sometimes I felt physically, I couldn't eat. There was physical purging. I'm like, how am I called? What am I bringing up out of my body that I don't understand. I start fasting, and I feel like that was God's way of getting me into building me into a new version. I had to break that down, that belief system, because it was a lot. It's very heavy. And you're gonna feel all different emotions. You're gonna go through it. I was nostalgic at one point too. Oh my gosh, should I go around? I connected to a couple cousins. I stay connected to my couple boy cousins on Facebook. And I would sometimes see their little family posts, and I'm like, am I missing out? But then I'm like, nope.
you remember all the drama, the dysfunction. Oh,
Yeah, I was like,
I've
yeah.
been there. I'm like, oh, they looking like they having so much fun, and then I'm like, I know them. Something happened. It didn't make it to Facebook.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's just being able to strengthen myself in that way, finding other healing modalities and pathways really help. But man, you're gonna go through it. Healing is not a it's not a just a linear, you're gonna go through all kind of different frequencies and emotions. But I think what helped me, what I did learn through this process is that my family was heavily religious, but what I did learn, I started tapping into what my generational gifts, and the faith factor of things helped me say, okay, if I got to find my way back to my own faith, what is faith? What does God mean to me? They taught me in a way that was toxic as fuck, but what does God mean to me? And so finding my way back to my own spiritual awakening and spirituality in that way, it helped me learn about boundaries and things and expressing my truths. And it's been a whole journey, y'all, but it's a continuum. It's a continuous thing. It's not an overnight thing that's gonna happen, because we are dealing with some generational. I mean, it's a lot that we're carrying. So don't
hmm
give yourself grace along this journey. A whole bunch of it. Yeah. So.
Now you said something. You was like, and I quoted it early on, because how I came across you was on Instagram, and you had did this interview. And I don't know, like I tell people, I'm like, listen, everything I do, my business, I'm sure you can feel the same way. All of it is a reflection of me. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like I gotta feel connected to the guests I bring up here. I'm like, I don't just, it ain't about numbers, it ain't about can I resonate?
Right. That
Can
part.
I do I believe you?
That part.
You understand? And
That
I
part.
was like, she is so dope. Like, have you always like been this expressive inwardly and outwardly, or was that something that was developed along the way? Because I know that even if I look at you exteriorly, um, the bandanas you wear, your glasses, your sneakers, your style is, because people ask me, because I went through all different type of phases. Like I cut all my hair
Yeah.
off. I had long
They,
hair, then I cut it all off, and then
uh-huh.
I had it on the
Got some
side.
red
Then I,
in there right now.
you understand? So were you always like this, or was that something you had to grow into as you found your voice and as you allowed your inner child to express freely through you?
Yeah, that's a good quick question. I think I've always been, it's been a development over time, but I've always had like to dress a certain way. I like to dress, I get fashion from my grandma. I was with her as a little girl a lot. So she was one of my first fashion teachers, just you spend time with somebody enough,
Mm-hmm.
that's I start thinking about like some of my positive things that of why I am the way I am too, not just the trauma, right? And knowing fashionably, that's something that I adopted early on. And I really at light. That was the time I spent with my grandmother. So yes, as far as fashion, but expressing, I was more, I was like that more so with my teammates and on the court because basketball was different. But with my family, no, my voice was very silenced. Even though they could feel my presence a lot of times, I wasn't in my power around them yet. Because again, you got to remember these are the people that I'm thinking that took most of my power. I didn't know until I had to start breaking free and getting away from them to gain it. You know, now when I'm around them, I can be fully in it and they can feel a version of me in a different way, from a more loving, healing way, whenever I choose to go around, you know, because I still got my, got to take it in doses. But
Mhm.
I think now, as I've developed and I've allowed my inner child to that safe space, I've created a sanctuary for her within to create, to be who she is, to is just becoming even more expressive. And then I'm just like, wow, like, you know, this is cool. I'm just being who I am freely. And
Mhm.
that came from a lot of tapping back with her and helping her feel safe again to do so.
Absolutely. You said something, and I think it's important for us to park here for a second. But you was like, and you said it a couple of times, and I was like, okay, because I that's the space. It's like I tiptoe in and out of that space of because the trauma is so loud, right? It's like, but when we think about even me, same way, growing up in church, religious background, it was a lot of toxicity. But then I try to think about all the, I learned how to pray, I learned how to be resilient, I learned, you know what I'm saying? So you was like, you learned how you had to focus on. You talked about generational gifts. And you said how you had
Mhm.
to not just focus on the trauma, but focus on the good, like the good times with your grandmother. Talk about how important that is for those who are listening that's also on the healing journey. And because the trauma can be so loud, the pain can be so severe, but it's like, hey, you really got to train your brain. Yeah, while you're working through all of that, hopefully with a therapist or a coach, you learn how to unpack all of those things, but also training your brain that says, hey, you don't got to stay in that pain. There's a time you in it, but then there's a time on that journey where you start remembering or thinking about. I guess my question is like, what was that like for you? Was that natural for you to not get lost in the sauce with all the trauma, and you was able to focus on the generational gifts and the good that came from being a PK and all of that? What was that really like for you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's a lot. It's a whole emotional roller coaster at first, but I think what it came down to was me learning, like I said, once I separated myself to start development, breaking down and rebuilding myself, I was able to get more clarity, have more understanding of myself from a deeper perspective, look at the shadows and the light. I think when we're so in the dark and we hadn't really tapped into the light, that's all we're going to focus on. And our mindsets are our greatest assets. Our mindsets are wealth. And when you learn how to shift your perspective, don't deny your feelings or emotions, but then feel that, understand it, let it be, but shift it. Start shifting your perspectives and your belief system. It takes you to a whole nother level of self-discovery. And I think for me, the more I was healing and seeing my shadow parts and then understanding my light, the more I shined light on those shadows, the more I seen light. And so that started to take me into, hey, these are some gifts that I have too. These are some moments that I can remember. Or I remember when I did this. This is why I love fashion, because people start asking me certain questions in a way of, well, how did you get into fashion? Or how did, and that's when these things start to happen. Oh, I can remember a time where many times, you know, people ask me, how do you shop? And I remember me and my grandmother used to go thrifting all the time. And the other kids never wanted to go into the store because they hated the smell, you know, but it was me. So just remembering, even just prayer times, even getting older and remembering with my mother, yeah, there was a lot of things that pissed me off about her, or she didn't do this, but I remember how she used to pray and believe. And then I would see things happen because of her resiliency. I would see how she got out of those bad relationships and she got her degrees and her college degrees. She went through that. That's a part of me, you know? And so that's what helped me, collectively start to say, hey, this is all a part of me, but I see my greatness too. I'm not just going to sit here in the trauma, but I'm going to honor the fact that, hey, this was a part of this. This was, I needed to see this too in order to see that. I hope that makes sense.
That made
So
perfect sense. Absolutely. Now, so I want to reiterate something you said. You said tap into the light. I thought that was so powerful, y'all. Tap into the light because that darkness can that the healing work, if you don't have the right guide, meaning the right therapist or coach or whoever,
right,
it
right.
not turn out well. So you need the right resources and the right tools. So tap into the light. And then
Mhm.
also you said your mindset is your greatest asset. I'm like, clock that T, okay? I just like to pause and make sure we get it because I think sometimes we get so used to scrolling on YouTube or scrolling on Instagram and we don't really pause and listen. Like that day I
Mhm.
came across your video. I didn't even know I was seeking something and was being intentional, and that in which I saw came to me, which was you. Like I just came across the video because I'm just like, God, I need more real people. I need more
Mhm.
real voices. I need more people in the healing space
Mhm.
who are leaders in this, but are also willing to be transparent and share their story, their journey.
Mhm.
Now take us up to 2014. You lost your cousin, 23 years old. What's his name? If you don't mind.
Chris,
Chris?
it's Chris. Chris, uh-huh.
Chris. Chris. And I'm the okay, I rocks with Chris. Okay, rest in heaven, Chris. I'm the baby in my family. So you the
Oh
oldest on
wow.
yours, and I'm the
Wow.
baby.
Wow. Look at
So
Chris. Look at
so
Chris.
soon as you said Chris and he was the baby, I was like, yeah. He was encouraging you saying, man, F them. Da 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 da
Yeah.
da da da
Yeah.
da. I'm
He
like,
was.
yeah,
He
we are
was.
like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
And he
was
did. He did. He did.
Yay. So that was 2014 with Chris. He passed. And then now we rolling over to 2017. And you talked about like this awakening that you had. You said everything shifted. Can you walk us through what that awakening felt like in real time? Because and the reason why I'm asking the question this way is because I want our audience to understand in this healing journey, you got something to look forward to. Work
Mm-hmm.
through that pain because that awakening is gonna come, but you never
Mm-hmm.
know when it's gonna be there, when it's gonna arrive, but you gotta be positioned to receive it and recognize it. So
Mm-hmm.
when was that moment where you were like everything shifted in 2017 became like this monumental year for you?
Yeah, it was. And it was the year I was turning 35. So I remember a few months prior in 2016, I decided I've been working as a social worker. I worked with the state of Texas for 6.5 years and really helping families and help children and doing all this. And I remember going to the doctor because I was so stressed, y'all. You know how we be working in these jobs. We try to give. We overwork, we underpaid, but I felt like I'd been trying to do everything, help everybody and everything. And I was still on my healing journey. And I started going to therapy a little more. Like I really started to try to tap into something different. Well, I realized I went to the doctor for my annual that year, 2016. This is what led into 2017. Towards the end, I went to the doctor, and my doctor said to me, I just need to be honest with you. And this is my doctor for years. If we don't get these stress levels under control, like you're too young. I hate to say this, but he was very blunt, and I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna make it to 40, you mid 40, you're not gonna make it. And I don't even like to say that, but your stress levels, your health right now is just not good. And I said, wow, I had never been in that kind of situation because I'd always been an athlete. I felt like I'd always been healthy, but I didn't realize I allowed a job or whatever to it was a lot. And I was grieving too, going through a lot of different things. Like, so I said, yeah, I gotta end up leaving. I gotta resign. And I did that. I needed to get out of that energy, out of that space. I was like, I'm gonna trust this God. I'm gonna trust I've done things right financially up to this point. I don't know what's next for me, but I can't. I You just sent me a clear message. And
Mm-hmm.
the job wasn't going to change. I had to make a decision to do that. And so that's when it started. I resigned, took some time off, like 5 or 6 months, just to try to gather myself, get my body connected again with my mind. Like, because I was such in high stress, it was bad. It was really, really bad. but I got to a better space. Ended up taking that time off. 2017, the beginning, this is what shifted. I tried to go, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back. I found another company. I knew my resume was good. I was like, I'm gonna go work for this small company, do this, cool. Just vibe through it until I figure out what I want to do, if so. And so they offered me a nice position, got back in. Within probably like 4 or 5 months, I started noticing the same pattern. And I said, oh no, oh no,
I done did it
I got.
again. I don't
And
went
some
back.
just hit me. Yeah, it just hit me. And God was like, it's time for you to start doing your own thing. Like, I'm like, what does that mean? You know, I don't understand. So I got out of there by the end of that year. I was out of there, and I decided I'm about to start my own coaching. I'm about to start mentoring. I don't know how this gonna happen. I don't know what this means. But by that time, I'd been doing these series of videos on Facebook. At the time, I wasn't really on Instagram, and they were just really being reshared every day. It's like people look forward to seeing my videos, and so that was the shift. That I said I can't do this. I said I'm gonna go take this leap and I'm gonna do this myself. I'm gonna figure it out. And everything just started to align after that. Everything just started to align with like, do this. You could set this up. You can set this up. Now, of course, you got to build. I'm not gonna tell y'all to just go out and quit your job and not. No, I've got a whole different strategy for that now. But I'm saying take the faith and believe as you put the work in and find the step. I start going to networking events. I start because I had already had the skills of building community. That's what I did for somebody else that had me stressed out. So what I did was
Mhm.
take my own exemplary skills and transferable skills that I already knew, and I started to apply them to my own legacy building. And yeah, here we are, 7 years, almost 7 years later.
Oh my goodness. So since let's talk about that as far as like the type of people you coach and how like now you in the coaching space or have been in the coaching space for a period of time, but did that passion derive from the pain you had experienced and the things you gone through?
Oh yeah, it did. It did. I started realizing, hey, people were coming. They were like, I think the first time I got my first client, I was like, wow, okay, this person, okay, they actually they trust me. Let's go. But I naturally have a gift of just talking to people anyway, and just I would do it anyway. I was doing it for free for so damn long. I'm trying
I
to
get
encourage
it.
I'm trying to encourage other people, and I needed to, encourage more of myself too. But I realized I was already doing that and it was natural. And so, but it's different when you get paid for it. It's like,
Mhm.
wait, you trust me? And one thing I always wanted to say, I've always been straight up with my clients. I have people who've been with me for almost 5 years now. They just have they just stay because the energy, and we're watching each other evolve over time. I always say, come and get what you need. There's even people I have to say, hey, I'm gonna let you know right now. If you're looking for, I know y'all be seeing all this shit on social media. Oh, I can help you do this in 90 days. I'm gonna tell you right now, like we can shift energies, but this is a journey. This is a journey, and if you're ready to go on a journey of healing within yourself, that's different for everybody. That
Mhm.
that's what I'm here to help you do. But I ain't here to give you no false information just to take your money. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not gonna do that. And so I feel like leading with that kind of authenticity, leading with truth, even my inner circle, being open and vulnerable with my own community, they've trusted me in that way. And when I've been in spaces where I need it, I go into there because that's been my sanctuary. They show it, they show that love right back, and that's a beautiful thing to have. So yeah, it's been a journey, and now that I got two other businesses and three books, and I'm excited. A whole organization now of master gen bosses. Like it's like so much beautiful stuff has unfolded because I said, no, I can't do this. I chose me in 2017, which was the awakening that I needed to get me where I am today.
I chose me. I love that. Tell us more about Mash Gent and the businesses. And I know you got the comeback kid, and then you got Heal That Shit,
Yeah.
and then another one. Take a
Coach
moment.
Dee
Tell us
Coleman.
about what you got going on and how we can support, and for our listeners that's tuned in as well.
Yeah, y'all, I'm outside. I'm a whole influencer and a community builder and just in these streets, getting awards and things. But to me, it wasn't about, I think once you start going on this mission, this journey, just being on the mission, you don't really get caught up in accolades and things. I appreciate it, no doubt, because I'm going grassroots and work and fight. This is my way of fighting for us, especially as a queer community. Like the more we can come together, but we got to feel safe within us, because that's the problem. A lot of us don't even trust. We don't trust nobody, and that's because we don't trust ourselves. So me being able to trust myself and then create those safe spaces of healing for other people to do so, especially us that are Black, queer, or that are in underrepresented and underserved communities. Like when we start healing and come together, it's so much power in that. And so I own co-own a salon suite business here in Dallas with a partner, and we lease out salon space suites to beauty professionals. That's called Creative Beauty Salon Suite. It's been pretty dope. We just made year 2 on that.
Congratulations. I love
Thank you.
that.
Thank you. And what I love is too, because we get to have a space for our Black and brown communities to do their thing. They like, y'all Black owned, y'all women, and we love this. And we keep the space up. We give them what they need. We run it very efficiently. Because customer experience and community is everything. And I think when you tap into your community in that way, that's how everybody, we want their businesses to go in there and grow and do different things. So it's not just transactional for us, which has been, I feel like, why we're also being blessed, even when the economical climate starts to shift. It goes back to the faith and it goes back to the purpose, right? And then just creating just 8 months ago, which I feel like is Godspeed. Maybe it's just an extension of me now, putting this into the world with other Mask Gent bosses. But I've created an organization, Mask Gent Bosses. And what that is that we are a community of mask queer entrepreneurs, leaders, influencers. We're mask lesbians, we're trans mask, non-binary, if you that are more mask presenting. But I'm giving us a platform and a way to be more visible, to amplify us, our voices in a way where it's healing and it's positive and it's authentic and it's unapologetic. These stigmas around, oh, well, masks or studs don't get along, and hey, the trans are over here and the studs are over here, and here I am having both. And it's been a beautiful bridge, and just the empowerment and the unity and us standing together and supporting each other, it has been mind blowing to me in so many ways. And just the community is growing so fast. And I'm just like, what is happening here?
I love it. I think that's dope and we need that. I want to backpedal for just a moment because I forgot to ask, well, not forgot, but it came up. Um, Forgiveness. What did that self going back to? Yeah, yeah. I wrote it down, but when we was on the road, I was like, nah, we gotta get that forgiveness in there, whether that's self-forgiveness, forgiving. Did you forgive? Because some people believe like, I don't gotta forgive, I don't gotta this and that. Everybody's belief is different. I'm like, to me, forgiveness is like a form of release and not
Man,
holding people
talk about
hostage.
it.
Yeah, and not
Talk
holding people
about
hostage in your heart that's still hurting you. So what did your tell us how that self-forgiveness, if that was a thing, if you some people feel like, they had to forgive God or forgive others. What has that looked like?
Ooh, yes,
No.
man. Forgiveness. That's forgiveness. It is for you. It's for me personally. What I've realized, forgiveness is for us. It's very much so liberating. It's freeing, and I don't think we understand it until you actually go on this journey of really the process of forgiveness. It's a process because listen, grief is when you're releasing old versions of you. You think you may grieve a person, but we don't always talk about grieving ourselves.
Say that
And a
again,
part
Coach
of
D.
grieving yourself,
Say that again.
we don't we don't always talk about the process of grieving ourselves. Grief and in that's where you learn to self-forgive. You gotta be able to say, okay, this past, release that shit in love, say, hey, I forgive you. Look at yourself. That was the first Coach D. So you asked about my books. Coach
Yes.
D's playbook was actually my first book. Y'all can see the length of my hair is super long now, but this is where I just started to tell people how I jump started my self-love journey. You know, And the first thing that I had to do was truly look in the mirror and get real. I'm talking about authentic, real with myself about everything I was feeling. Allow that inner child in me to come speak to me through the mirror. And when I channeled her and she came for the very first time because I never summoned or called her like that. Like I saw myself. I saw like not just this pretty eyes I have. I have beautiful green eyes. It wasn't just about that. It was about not caring about the physical. It was about looking at what that dark child, the sadness, the pain that she was reflecting to me, and allowing myself to overwhelmingly cry and release. And I had to say, I forgive. I had to ask her for forgiveness. I forgive. Can you forgive me? I forgive myself. And that was the start of something that was going to take me into a journey that I knew my soul was ready for, soul evolving, evolution. And so it's and it helped me start to learn how to forgive other people, which I knew, man, who am I really needing to really forgive next? And I knew it was gonna have to come down to my mother. I had been dealing with my father wound for a while too, but it's weird because even though he wasn't here, you always go for the one who was there with you. That's the one you hold harbor the most whatever with. And so I had to really get into that mother wound. And y'all, that mother wound healing for me has been a journey. I'm finally now in a place of like, okay, I know my worth a little, because you don't realize you're carrying whatever she's carrying. And that low self-worth was something that I felt like I've been breaking us all free of here lately. The
Mm-hmm.
women.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. So the mother healing the mother, that's my language. I'm like, listen, that
Ooh,
mother wound, the
ooh,
father
that
wound. And oh, can I ask you this? Was there ever
yeah,
a time, and
yeah.
I'm sure it was, a time, can you share a time with us in your journey where you were doing all this healing work? You were doing really, really well, like you were responding proper. Whatever you was working on, you was dotting them I's and crossing them T's, and then you had a setback. I know you the comeback kid, but setbacks are part of, or we ain't even gotta call them setbacks, right? Those transitional moments.
The
You
transition.
understand?
Sit
Them
down real quick.
them character building moments. You know how you feel like, okay, I done took 10 steps and then something happened, or you don't respond the way, or the old you know what I'm talking about. And then you feel like you done
Yeah.
took 50 steps back. What was that moment like for you where you felt like, okay, I was doing good, or maybe the pain came back up, or you were triggered by something? Oh, let's talk about triggers too. How do you live
Mm.
with those? But I'm gonna pause that. So was there ever a moment? Let me calm down. I know there was a moment. We all have them. Can you share
Oh
a
yeah.
moment where maybe you were triggered by something, or whatever? And because what I be trying to tell people, I'm like, listen, don't judge yourself. Like you said, be kind, because things are gonna transpire. Sometimes you're gonna get it right, sometimes you're not. This is years and years and layers of generational stuff, right? From the soul to the spirit, whatever. What was that like for you, and how did you get yourself out of it?
Oh yeah. These things are continuum. You're gonna have different moments at different times. I think the more you start healing, you start realizing how to, of course, navigate with the tools. But I mean, there's just gonna be some moments. I it happened to me what? Ooh, I would say, was it last year? The end of our first the end of our first, when we had the first year of our salon, and we were tested. Oh, we were tested. This 10, because somebody had the nerves to just, I mean, didn't give a damn about their leaves or nothing. Just go in the middle of the night, move their shit out, and just left. And so, you
I'm over here breathing. I'm like, whew, okay.
you checked we didn't feel like we had a reason to check no cameras because everybody's been doing their thing. And we just thought maybe, hey, you told us you were gonna be late on the ring. We said, okay, you got to this time. She was cool with it. Oh, I'll take care of it. We had ever had no issues, but this was a part of the experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when that happened, whoo, triggered. Talk about triggered. Popped up, took us back a little bit. I was just like, whoa, like what was this? You get pissed off, like you just get in that mode. You get pissed off because you're like, how could somebody do this to you? And I'm trying to give you a space. I'm trying to help you. I communicated, but how could you just go and do that, and now you done changed your number, and you done blocked us on social media. It took us. It took us. I mean, I I was so pissed. I was so pissed, but I allowed myself to think because I was like, man, I think it was just so much of like, damn. Then I was pissed off at. I started getting in this, man. Black people, come on, man. We trying to why? This is the problem. I was just pissed, and
Mm-hmm.
that was a moment that I needed because it helped me realize and see things differently. But it also helped me understand that my therapist has told me anger is always is also healthy. We don't realize it because it fuels something in us. Now you still got to manage it and you still got to heal through it, but it's healthy to feel because I needed that. You like you said, you do all those healing, and you most of the time to stay calm. That was something that took me up into it was like I needed that shift. I needed something to break me into another level. And it was that experience that caused that anger to come out. And I felt that anger. I allowed it to be what it was gonna be, but then I worked through it. But I needed that. And I feel like now what that does too is if I'm in a space and I feel some type of way, I'm gonna allow myself to express it and say it, even if I need a moment to calm. If I'm bothered, it's okay for me to express that. I don't have to be. That's that toxic positivity.
Mm-hmm.
This and oh, everything's gonna be okay. No, this is not fucking okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some meetings with team members. This is not. I'm gonna respect you, but I'm gonna let you know this is not okay. And it's just the tone of it and letting people know who you are without belittling, making them feel bad. No, it's just speaking your truth. And I think that's also been just a reason why people that are growing around me are starting to understand and amplify their voices differently. You can speak your truth without, hurting somebody. What they say, trauma is a pattern of just hurt people hurting. I think sometimes we need to just tell our truths and in a way where we standing in it and we mean it. And when we mean it, we don't go back on it, a boundary. And so, yeah, that's what it's that's what it's been like for me. So
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I like that you shared it from a professional perspective because that can be challenging sometimes to always have to Michelle Obama, they go low, you go high. Because I feel like sometimes, I don't know if you felt this way. Like I've been coaching 13 years. And so I started
ooh,
out as a business coach. And then I ended up,
right.
because I went on my own healing journey. I was doing life coaching in the midst of all of that anyway. Like I was in
Yeah,
sessions,
yeah,
somebody was booking a session with me talking about, oh, I want to grow my podcast. And child, I'm in there like, I don't think, because I'm a very intuitive person, empath, spirit, those generational gifts,
right, right,
prophetic, all of that. And I'm like, I'm in there. They talk about they want to grow their podcast, Coach D. And I'm in there like, something happened. Where is this blockage coming from? Come to find out, the blockage it ain't had nothing to do with no marketing plan, no marketing strategy. It's this a 47-year-old woman still carrying the burden of her daddy comparing her to a sister. So you giving that energy is releasing in you know what I'm saying? So and the reason,
right.
yeah, so
Wow.
and so when we allow it to happen organically, just like with you, you was like people was already reaching out, and I'm just like, oh, okay, this what we gonna do? This what we doing? Okay, let's go. And then you learn as you go. But I'm glad that you use the example within your business because I think oftentimes as healers and as professionals, like people be trying us, like I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and then when you get them, it's when you have to, because sometimes you gotta get them, like whether it's our personal lives. Like I had a situation a few years back where like my assistant, who I thought was like my sister, we had like this big thing, and honey, she went to the internet. And
Mm,
Coach
mm,
D, I had never had anybody do that to me. Not go to the
mm,
internet. We hashed it out privately, but she kept putting subliminals online. And I think at that point in this was probably about 4 years ago. At that point in my life, I was so tired of people playing with me. You
ooh,
understand? Like, I'm tired of taking the high road. I'm like, the bees about to get it. She gonna get
ah,
it for everybody. Cause I'm like, cause you gotta think, and it triggered me too. Because when I came out, like sharing my marriage in 2021, my husband Sean is trans.
right,
So, well, now he is. But I shared my story. My mentor, a coach of 7 years, went online and said everything but my name. So it took me back to that. I'm like, I'm tired of people playing with me. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a whole private conversation with him, but then he
mm,
go put something else on Facebook, and I'm like, well, since you said everything but my name, here I am. And so when she did that as my friend, as who I thought was my sister,
Yeah, you trusted. Yeah.
I had to get her, but
Ooh,
afterwards, of course, you
ooh.
like, dang, I don't want people, I'm professional, but I'm also human. So how do you navigate those waters of, yes, I'm Coach D, the queer coach, I'm a healer, I'm about boundaries, I'm about all of that. But if I gotta get you, I'll get you, and that's okay. Like, how do you navigate those waters?
Man, listen, I'm with you on that because I am the type that I will sit back and observe. And like I said, especially if we've been personal, like you said, I'm gonna get you if you. I kind of that thing about we teach people how to treat us. Now you can't. Some people you don't. They just gonna be who they are, right? And some people, but you teach people how to treat you. And I think sometimes the energy you give off, or also let people know. Me, I am one that first of all, I'm not gonna do no social media beefing, but I will let you know behind the scenes. And then when I pull my energy back from you, access back from you, that's a whole nother level of like self-worth and standing in your power. Because a lot of people who do that, you think about those things, they're acting out, it's a trauma response. And so, yeah, I don't let you know, and then I'm letting you know in another way. Yeah, I don't fuck with you because now you're losing access. But I done had a conversation with you. And I don't do this social media stuff. People get to doing things and I ignore it and I let my healing and success continue to speak for it. And I think when we move like that too, we don't get caught up in other people's karma. We
Mm,
all got our own karma debts to pay and shit like that. But I feel like some people want to pull you in. I said something to you, either you move like this or not, and that's it. But I'm not going to feed into nothing. You can put whatever you want on social media as long as I'm staying in my lane. And usually, what I've learned that happens is they just end up shutting up because they don't have anything to feed off of. I'm
mm-hmm.
not any of my energy to feed off of to keep fueling that. I take my power back from it, and that's very powerful. But that takes a lot of like discipline, healing, and like I said, don't deny yourself from expressing yourself. But like you said, how do I handle it? That's how I handle it. I could be both private and public. I feel like I am. I'm very like that, but at the same time, like there is a time and a place. And what I'm not gonna do is I'm gonna still be me, but I'm not gonna do all
Not
that.
giving you my energy. Yeah, it was 4 years ago. That was a crazy time. Like
I
I'm
know
telling
it
you.
was, but sometimes you gotta do. Hey, like I said, those are times where it's okay to be angry. Sometimes you gotta let a motherfucker know.
I mean, Coach D, this girl, I'm trying to like ignore her. I'm talking about we were close. I'm thinking we close. Like I'm like, you
Wow.
you you don't reached out because you were my assistant, so you got all this access, and it was like,
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
give nobody access to my financials. I
yeah.
don't care how close we are. Only
Hey,
person that had
hey,
access to that was my
use
spouse,
her.
and I was so
Mm,
glad. But this girl was reaching out to my clients, lying, like she was like literally
oh,
trying to I'm
oh,
destroy me. And I'm like, after everything I did, not to just help you, but also your family. You know
oh,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, and for those of y'all that's listening right now, we're just talking about like as healers or as influencers, as leaders, right? As um awakened people. You still have those moments because I tell people I'm righteous and ratchet. You
I
understand?
do.
Like
I'll tell you. I'm half hood, half holistic. That's my
yeah.
homegirl. I'm
Half hood, half holistic. I
yeah,
love
my
that.
homegirl got a platform that's named after that, and I told her I love it because I said that's me. That is really me. I'm raised in the hood, but I'm holistic too. But don't get
Yeah.
it twisted. Don't get it
But
twisted.
staying focused is so important, right? And so what would you say, and I know we're about to wrap up now. Um, is there anything on your heart that, because this is Woman Heal podcast, the women here are a little more seasoned, they in their 40s to late 50s, like
Okay.
that's, you know what I'm saying? But they're figuring it out. They're navigating these waters. A lot of them are navigating through generational traumas and, just trying to unpack and make sense of, is there anything, I just want to create a space where at this moment where you can just kind of share what's on your heart um, at this moment to our listeners, whether that's encouragement, whether that's something specific. You talked about the climate with, political climate, all of these things, whatever's on your heart. I just want you to be able to have a moment to share in your own way, to empower our listeners today.
Well, thank you for this. First, I want to, give honor to you for this space, for inviting me into the space and having it be safe and really authentic and sacred energy for us to really see more of ourselves and to heal, because that's needed. A lot of us, especially as Black women, regardless of what it looks like, we don't come together often, and especially being Black women who are queer and maybe in dynamics or situations where it's definitely people don't understand or get it, such as yourself. You're standing in a very powerful and challenging at the same time position, being a Black queer woman that's also married to a trans man, which we've featured Sean on our platform as
Yes,
well.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, love it, love it, love it. That's not always easy, but you're standing in your light anyway, and you're showing up and you're saying, "Hey, I'm here to help you heal, and this is what it's going to be, regardless of what you think about my relationship status, what you think about my identity. I'm standing in that." And the same goes for me. And so, as Black women coming together, I definitely appreciate this space. And I would say to any other listeners that are listening, watching, whatever you're feeling about this segment, that you really reflect on maybe a lot of the things that we said today. Get to your own inner child, get to know yourself, outside of looking for validation on the outside. Maybe there's something you didn't get. You didn't feel safe. You didn't feel protected. You lost somebody. Maybe there's financial struggles or things you're dealing with that maybe prevent you from having what you want. I feel like just continue to not only root in faith, but trust that if you change your belief system and you continue to say every day and do and become those things that you desire, you can have that. You are already that. That's something I had to start unlearning and realizing that all the things that I desire, I'm already that. But we were not taught that, especially in the Black community. We were not taught that. As Carla and I have said here and talked about today, we've been rooted in a lot of trauma, and we're uprooting that now. And we're starting to plant new seeds, seeds of wealth, prosperity, abundance, love, joy, peace, healing, authenticity, whatever that looks like. We're not saying we got to be perfect. We're saying we can be exactly who we are as long as we stay rooted in our truth and rooted in love, because that is the true meaning of God for me. I was taught growing up God is love, but it was the opposite. Then I had to reflect and tell my family recently, because I went to a grandma. We had a gathering a few weeks ago, and my grandma wanted to talk to all of us. And I taught y'all to be God fearing. And in that moment, I said, with respect, Granny, can I add something? As we all here as a family, I don't fear God anymore. God is loving to me. Because if you saying God is love and God is fearing at the same time, that doesn't make sense to me anymore. I said, so if it's okay with you, can we say as a family that God is now love, that you've always told us? We don't have to fear love. And everybody got quiet. They were just like, and I come from a family of over talkers, and
Mm-hmm.
no one said anything much in that moment. And my grandma said, okay. And I knew then, wow, something has happened or
Yep.
happening, you know? And it's been years, but to see just from 2014 to now, and to go on my journey and to have that moment, I feel like that was God bringing me full circle to say, this is what you're doing for your family, even if you don't know all the details. So continue to embody and be a better version of you. It's never too late. I don't care what you're going through, how old you are. It's never too late. If you want to start a business, you want to start a podcast, like, Carla, if you want to, whatever, it's not too late. It's not too late to hit the gym or get you a trainer. It's not too late to go work on your mental health. It's not too late. It's not too late to go live your life. It's not. It's not too late to get out of a relationship or friendships that no longer serve you. But it is very much on time for you to say yes to you. And that's what I want to leave y'all with. It's time for you to just really choose you and say yes to you. Because you saying yes to you, there's so much love and beauty on that other side, no matter the challenges. You got this.
Say
sis.
yeah, you got this, sis. Say yes to you. Oh my goodness. So remember, y'all, remember she said, tap into the light. Our mindset is our greatest asset. Listen, say yes to you. Coach D, tell the people where they can get your books, how they can get connected. You all over Texas. Like, I'm like,
I'm
dang, we done been to
everywhere.
Texas a few times, huh?
I'm everywhere. I'll be everywhere. I'll be in South Carolina too. I'm coming to North Carolina as well. I'm going to New Orleans tomorrow. Like
I
I
know
am
you all over
Atlanta,
the place. I
Dallas.
love
I'll
it.
be outside. I'll be in New York in October. I'll be in Jackson, Mississippi next month. I'm
Yeah,
just
we gotta
I
get with me and Sean gotta definitely get with you. I'm gonna hit you up. If
yeah,
you
y'all hit
come to
me up.
North Carolina, like we definitely gotta have lunch or something. Just
Yeah,
yes,
I
sis.
would love to. I would love to do that. I've been saying with the places I'm going, I'm doing Mass Gym Bosses meetups, and so he's out there too. So y'all have a community, so maybe that's something we could collaborate on as well, and bring the people out.
I love it. Now tell the people where they can get your books, coaching, connected with you online, all that
Y'all
good
can
stuff.
Google me. I'm outside. I'm everywhere. You Instagram, TikTok, Detox Life Coaching. That's DEETOX Life Coaching, and I play off my name DEE. So yeah, you can Google me, Detox Life Coaching. You can find me on Instagram, like I said, TikTok. All those things will take you to my website. I'm on LinkedIn. I am Facebook. You can also follow Mask Gent Bosses as MASC. So most people with the K, and we taking off the mask.
Come
Okay, we
on.
talking about masculine. So Mask Gent Bosses. So y'all can check us out. We're Instagram, TikTok too. So hey, if you go Google Detox Life Coaching, you'll find me. I'll pop up.
Yeah, I
Guarantee.
believe her website is detoxlifecoaching.com.
Yeah, it is. Yep,
Yeah.
that too.
There you go, y'all. Detoxcoaching.com. Listen, Coach D, I really appreciate you um for
No,
bringing your
today was a
whole
vibe. I
self.
appreciate you too.
Yeah, bringing your whole self to this conversation. I can't wait to go back and even listen to it myself. We're so grateful for your courage to heal, to share your story, to be transparent because some transparency isn't easy for. I'm learning for us. Well, for me, it's more natural. I have to more so be discerning on not sharing too much because I'm just so open. Uh, I'm like, you want to talk about it? This is what it is, And then I had to learn, like, girl, like, you don't got to share everything.
Everybody don't need everybody. That energy you got is sacred. We can't give it to everybody
And
like
that's
that.
what I'm learning, even myself, because that empath part of me be like, "Oh, you need a hug. Oh, you need," and
No,
then I'm learning like I can't watch this. I ain't gonna cast my pearls to the swine no more. I gotta test these things to make sure you got the capacity to handle what I'm trying to pour instead of just pouring. So thankful for the insight you provided, y'all. Make sure that you connect with Coach D on Instagram at Detox Coaching. That's DEE. And grab her book, The Comeback Kid. Grab what is it? Heal that
you
shit.
do that shit and then Coach D's playbook. But yeah, if you find me on Detox Life Coaching on Instagram, you can find me. Yeah, yeah. You can.
Absolutely. And there you have it, guys. Be sure to subscribe to Healing Conversations TV on YouTube. This is where you are watching this, or you might be on Spotify watching the video. Apple, we only have audio. But right now you're watching on Healing Conversations TV. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and please help us spread the word, right? So whether you're watching or listening, click that share button, share this to your community, share it with your family, whether it's your church, your circle of friends, online, offline. Our goal with Woman Heal Podcast is to provide tools and resources to help as many people as possible on their healing journey, right? And so just keep in mind what happened to you may not be your fault, but healing is your responsibility. We'll see you next time. Coach D, tell the people bye.
See y'all. Thank y'all. Bye. I'm just caught up in the moment.